few days ago, I was at a perfume store to buy a perfume, and a woman beside me was like, "Oh my God, this perfume has alcohol. I don't do alcohol. I don't drink alcohol, nothing alcohol." And I had to explain to her that the alcohol in perfume is not the type of alcohol you might expect. So after explaining to her the importance of alcohol in perfumes and how basically nearly all perfumes have said alcohol, I decided to actually make full research on the alcohol usage in perfumery, and my results are quite interesting. In this video, I'm going to be answering the questions: is there alcohol in perfumes? Why is there alcohol in perfumes? What are the types of alcohol in perfumes? Is it harmful to me? And a few other tips along the way. Sorry about that, someone was spying on me. First question: are there alcohol in perfumes? The simple answer is yes. What? Almost every perfume you see today, or almost every perfume you've used, especially if they are spray perfumes, have alcohol in them. But it is not the type of alcohol you think. Before we talk about the types of alcohol used in perfumery, why exactly is there alcohol in perfumes? First of all, sorry, this is like the fifth take. First of all, alcohol is a very good solvent. It is used to dissolve the fragrance oils and the essential oils, basically making it into a mixture as opposed to the solid versions or the very thick versions that you cannot spray as perfumes. Then it assists in evaporation. You know, rubbing alcohol, for example, you apply it on your wound, and before you know it, the alcohol has evaporated. The same principle applies in perfume. That's what makes the fragrance molecules evaporate. Jesus. The fragrance molecules, that's what makes them evaporate. And when they evaporate, that's what people smell. That's why we now begin to talk about top notes, middle notes, and bottom notes. Bottom notes are basically the thing that was initially dissolved by the solvent, which is the alcohol. So the alcohol now evaporates with some of the fragrance oils and becomes the top notes, the middle notes, and then the bottom notes are what is left behind. Alcohol also serves as a preservative or a stabilizer, because if you leave just essential oils, bacteria can begin to grow on them, and we all know that alcohol is good for killing bacteria. It's good as a solvent, it's good as a preservative or a stabilizer, and it's also good for the evaporation of perfumes. On to the types of alcohol used in perfumes. We have ethanol, which is the most basic. It is odorless and it is colorless, and it is also called perfumer's alcohol. If you're starting out in perfumery, you want to make your own perfume, ethanol is your go-to. It is also highly volatile and promotes efficient dispersion of fragrances. I explained that already. Then we have isopropyl alcohol. This is majorly used in testing and in the formulation stage. It is not used in the finished product. Then we have benzyl alcohol. This has a slightly sweet odor, and it is used sometimes to add depth and longevity. Then we have cetyl and stearyl alcohol. These are majorly used in solid base fragrances like creams, perfumed lotions, and all those things to make them thick. It's also odorless. Then we have denatured alcohol. Now this alcohol is used majorly in large scale productions, maybe for commercial use, and it is denatured so that they can avoid alcohol tax laws, because that is a thing. If you make it at a large enough quantity or a large enough scale, then you have to worry about paying tax on that alcohol, because in as much as it is ethanol, perfumer's alcohol, it is still alcohol, and tax recognizes it as alcohol. So they denature it to be able to use it in large scale productions and to avoid alcohol tax laws. It is also unusable for any other thing except for perfume production. Phenethyl alcohol has a faint rose aroma, and it is used specifically because of that. Maybe you want to add a little rose characteristics to your perfume, then you use phenethyl alcohol. Then we have alcohol derivatives. Esters and ethers are sometimes used to increase volatility and evaporation. Now for the question you've been waiting for: the alcohol in my perfume, is it bad? The answer is no, but as usual, you also have to be careful, especially if you have sensitive skin. Now, what are some alternatives? We have oil-based perfumes and water-based perfumes. The water-based perfumes is actually quite interesting. But first, the oil-based perfumes. We're all familiar with perfume oils and attars. So instead of using alcohol, we use an odorless and a colorless oil as the base and as the solvent for the perfume oil or the essential oil. That is why they are too heavy to be sprayed. Perfume oils are usually rubbed on the skin because you can't spray them. There's no alcohol to make it sprayable, if you you understand what I mean, and if you do. If you don't, let me know in the comments, and also subscribe and like. It will mean the world to me. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'll be happy if I do get to that. Now, for water-based perfumes, I initially thought water-based perfumes are perfume sprays, deodorant spray, and apparently they are not. They are actual perfumes that are water-based perfumes. I'll put them up on the screen. These water-based perfumes are usually more expensive because they need emulsification. That is how you're able to use water as a solvent for perfumes. With all this being said, you probably want to know exactly how much alcohol is in your perfume. Well, it depends. I already talked about fragrance oil concentration in previous videos, but now let's talk about the alcohol concentration. For Eau de Parfum, we have 15 to 20% fragrance oil and 80 to 90% alcohol. For Eau de Toilette, we have 5 to 15% fragrance oil and also 80 to 90% alcohol. For Eau de Cologne, we have 2 to 5% fragrance oil and 60 to 80% alcohol. And then finally, for Extrait de Parfum, we have 15 to 40% fragrance oil and 70 to 92% alcohol. So it's a majority of your perfume, but it's not something you should be worried about, in my opinion. What do you think about alcohol usage in perfumes? Do you have concerns, especially environmental, because that is what led to the creation of water-based perfumes, the environmental concerns? Do you mind having alcohol in your perfumes? Do you even notice? Does it bother you? Let me know all these answers in the comments. And please like and subscribe. This is Ayos Fragrance. We talk all things fragrance and perfumery here. We're happy to have you. See you in the next video. Bye.